beg you to come sit down. For real? You! Everybody wanna know yes I did! He's a drunk!
When evictors enter the home of a woman who is behind on her bills to evict her, they are shocked when they make a horrifying discovery inside her refrigerator. What could have led this gentle-looking woman, Mitchelle, to commit and hide the evidence of her atrocities in such a despicable manner? In one of the most gruesome crimes that shocked a nation, you are about to watch the exclusive interview of a woman whose sheer desire for violence and evil is chilling. Mitchelle came across as a loving and doting mother to her. Her social media handles reflected this aspect of her life, and for a while, everyone believed that Mitchelle was a great mother. However, all of this facade will come crumbling down when she failed to make her regular payment on her apartment, leading to her eviction. When the crew responsible for carrying out the eviction arrived, they found the apartment empty and proceeded to move out Mitchelle's furniture. They soon got to work, moving out her things until they came across a large refrigerator in the house. Upon opening it, they found one of the most shocking discoveries ever. So disturbing was the sight that they called 911 immediately. Mitchelle was eventually found hiding at a neighbor's house with two of her kids, but her other two kids, Stefan and Stoney, were not with her. As the police arrest and take her in for questioning, her cuffs are removed and she is left alone in the interrogation room for about 20 minutes. A female detective, Diaz, joins her in the room, and after reading her Miranda rights to her, the interview gets underway. Diaz begins with very basic questions about asking her name, her education, and if she has scars.
Did you graduate high school?
No.
Up to what grade of schooling do you have?
I want to say 10th, maybe.
What's your first name?
Mitchelle. M-I-T.
M-I?
M-I-T-C-H-E-L-L-E.
She says she has tattoos and shows them to the cops, on her chest, arms, and back. On her chest is written, "Trust no one," a possible indication of her approach and mentality towards life.
Do you have any body scars?
Tattoos.
What's on your chest?
Trust no one.
What's it say?
Trust no one.
What's on your back?
Something ridiculous.
Like what? Is it wording or a picture?
Wording.
What does it say?
I have to tell you.
Yeah.
I just show you. It's ridiculous.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you.
I got this covered up.
Stephen Berry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And right here.
What's that one?
The kids' names. This is for their dad's name, but I just cross it out.
Okay.
Mitchelle intermittently asks if her aunt and kids are around.
Aunt, my here.
You know what? I can't answer that right now. But I can find out. As soon as we're done, I'll make sure you know all that information, okay?
She seeks to make amends with the older woman, who she says only showed her love and care. However, a family reunion is not what this interview is about. There are lots of questions that the mother of four needs to answer, and soon the detective will get to that. Mitchelle is asked about her family, and she says that all four of her are for her ex-boyfriend. They are separated now, and so she is a single mother.
You got a boyfriend or spouse?
No.
What's your the father, is that your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah.
So you have 4 children altogether?
Yeah.
She is also barely educated and without a steady job, so it's unclear if her disadvantages triggered some of her actions. She is also not on talking terms with her parents.
I don't talk to my mother.
The detective asks about her kids, and she says she had 2 sons, but only one is alive at the moment.
How many sons do you have?
1. I had 2.
Please note that this case has a lot to do with her youngest son, and for the sake of his identity, he would be referred to as Mike. When the detective asks where her Stephen and Stoney are, she says that they are in her house, inside a giant refrigerator.
Where are your other 2, Stoney and Stephen?
At my house. At the old house.
Where in your house are they?
Freezer.
Yes, you see, this is what the evictors found when they opened the refrigerator in her house. the frozen bodies of her two. The investigators ask why she did this, and she says because they were being inappropriate with Mike, her youngest son.
Why did you do that?
Because they were along with the other thing.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
As the detective prods further, she says Mike had told her that Stephen was doing inappropriate things to him.
I came home one day. It was basically saying, "Come look what he's doing." He wasn't doing it by the time I went in the living room. But she said, "Show Mom what you was doing." So he had two little wrestle men.
At this, she stormed into his room to demand an explanation. However, Stephen denied it and said nothing of that sort happened.
Just went straight upstairs with him, well, all three of us. And I'm asking, and he said, no, he's lying.
But Mike was insistent and said that all the evil happened. When she threatened to really hurt him, Stephen admitted to this. At this point, Mitchelle says she lost her cool and began to punch him over and again.
What did you do when you went back upstairs?
I punched him. I just started punching him. I just kept punching him.
She also filled out the water bath and dipped his feet in it, burning him severely.
Like a bathtub, right? Hot water.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like this. I stood him in there.
In the hot water?
Yeah, with his feet. Got really messed up.
It is impossible to say if Mitchelle is telling the truth or not. Her victim is no more, and so there is no one to corroborate her story. It is possible she is delusional and using this story to convince herself that what she did was an act of justice. Stephen also may have done some wrong to his kid brother, but it's possible that he admitted to everything as he was scared and just wanted his mother to stop hurting him. After this, Mitchelle shut him in and began to consume vodka in her attempt to clear her head. By the next day, she had a terrible hangover and couldn't stop throwing up.
I had been drinking vodka, like, from the first day, period, and I basically couldn't get up.
You say you was throwing up?
It's like when I get up, maybe I would have went back in there, but...
Did you say you were throwing up?
Yeah, the only reason I didn't go.
However, by the third day, she resumed her routine of punching Stephen over and again.
I was going back for just punching him, basically, and choking him.
Bringing him food at intervals before carrying on with her punishment. Finally, after about 5 days, Stephen is weak and hardly breathing.
His breathing sounded weird. It was just... And I put my hand right here on his chest, and his heartbeat was like... It was crazy. I put my ear up to it, and it was like... And he's just like... He's going like this.
His body has taken more than it can handle, and in moments, he succumbs to the physical torture that his mother had put him through. Mitchelle says she noticed his poor breathing and tried to give him CPR, but it was too late, and so she had to accept her fate.
And I tried to do CPR on him.
You tried CPR on him?
I tried.
While he was still alive?
No, when he started looking like that and started doing that.
So did he stop breathing when you tried CPR?
No, he stopped before that.
So he stopped breathing and you tried to do
looking
CPR?
At him and he's going...
Okay.
The detective asks if she called the ambulance or sought for some form of help, and she says she didn't.
Why didn't you call for somebody?
I was scared.
Instead, she wrapped him in one of his favorite blankets and dumped him in her refrigerator. The detective asks about Stoney, and she outrightly says she meant to take her life.
What did Stoney do?
My kids. Stoney, I meant to do it.
Excuse me?
With Stoney, I meant to do it. Like with Stephen, I can't even say it was an accident, but it's not. If somebody dies from what you do to them, then it's that. But Stoney, I did mean to.
This is a shocking revelation from a mother and leaves everyone with the question as to why she deliberately took her daughter's life. It turns out that at the time, the bodies of Stephen and Stoney were found. It had been at least 2 years already since Mitchelle had ended Stephen's life. Stoney's demise will follow about a year later. For someone who had committed such a grievous crime and gotten away with it, taking another life must have been easier. The detective asks when Stoney lost her life, and she gets into the account of how it all happened. About a year later, after the tragic incident with Stephen, Mitchelle is confronted with another staggering revelation from Mike about her. It turns out that on that day, Mike had come into his mother's room together by Stoney. As she tried to sit beside him, he warned her not to. Mitchelle asked why he would say such a thing to his sister, and he says because she was mean. As she probed him further to explain what he meant, he says that she kicked him once and proceeded to touch him inappropriately even when he was still in diapers.
One day they were arguing about something, and they came in the room, and he said, "Don't sit next to me." I said, "Stop acting like that to her. It's your sister." He was like, "Oh, I don't want her to sit next to me. She didn't mean to me anyway." And I said, "Mean how?" He was like, "She should kick me like this." I'm like, "So why you never tell me?" Then he started saying my diaper.
This doesn't exactly add up. A baby in diapers may suffer some traumatic experiences and violations, but it may not be easy for that to remember the exact details. However, if Mike used diapers for an extended time, then it's possible that he remembered. Mitchelle cannot believe the things she is hearing and asks Mike to tell her more. She learns that Stoney had been violating him and surprisingly started with her late brother Stephen. If this is true, it is now easy to see why Stephen would have done the same thing to his brother. Whenever cycles of trauma occur, it is not unusual to find a victim victimizing others, sometimes in a bid to deal with the memories of their humiliation. Mitchelle says she grew hot as hell.
I just remember I felt hot as hell.
And this is where she grabbed Stoney by the neck tightly, demanding an explanation.
Looking at her, and I just walked straight up to her. He said, nasty stuff. I walked straight up to her, and I did like this, put up against the wall.
Stoney denies this, and so she begins to punch her. She also hits her a number of times on the head with a wooden piece of furniture from one of the bed frames.
I hit Stoney in the head.
With what?
It's like this little stick.
What was that?
It's like a stick.
After this, she sent her to her room and kept her indoors, just like she did with Stephen. She eventually began to reduce Stoney's food ration from 3 to 2 square meals until she got it down to a meal a day, oatmeal and water, basically.
She was up in her room for like 2 days. I wouldn't talk to her. After the first day I found out, I did what I did. I go in there and give her food. Then I get pissed at myself that I gave her food because y'all was stealing food from him every day. That's why he go to sleep hungry and wake up hungry. So
okay, so you give her food.
I stopped giving her so much.
After days of this horrendous treatment, she says she kept asking Stoney to apologize to Mike, but she refused. Mitchelle says her daughter called Mike a retard and so did not think it was okay to apologize to him.
When you said, "Are you ready to apologize to?" What did she say?
She doesn't want to apologize to him.
Days later, she goes up to Stoney's room, who is sleeping at the time. The girl wakes up and jumps in fright at seeing her mother. Mitchelle again asks her to apologize to Mike, and she says she is sorry for treating someone in that manner. Her mother is livid, as it appears that she is not repentant and only says that without mentioning his name to get away from the hostile treatment. At this point, she snaps, grabs one of Stoney's clothes and throws it around her face and neck. The two of them struggle and fall to the ground, and during the scuffle, she says Stoney hit her.
I punched her. She actually hit me back. You know what I mean? Because I punched her so hard. Well, she reached up and she hit me back, so I slammed her on the ground.
In a twisted way, she said she was proud of her daughter for fighting back.
I don't even feel understands, but I was actually kind of proud of her for actually hitting back.
However, this may have given her the opportunity she was seeking to end her life. In a sad and painful way, she used the clothing around her to put an end to her life.
Her shirt, it's a black shirt. I just picked it up and I put it on her neck. she really fighting back. You know what I'm saying?
When you say put it around her neck, what do you mean? You tied it, or you held it? You choked her?
I put it around her neck, and first I was in front of her, but as we tussling, and we both fell. Cause I'm heavier, you know, and I'm holding it, but that's still not what did it. And yes, I did.
Afterward, she put her in the freezer.
Freezer on top of Steven. I didn't wrap her in anything.
Days later, she shows her 2 surviving kids the remains of the 2 people who were once their siblings.
Did you show them? Did you show them the body?
Yeah.
From her confession, she believes Stoney was to blame. She is also particularly torn as she realizes that Steven may have been an unfortunate victim of Stoney. Mitchelle is cold-hearted, and no amount of provocation is enough to do what she did. After her crimes against her, she went to the school to inform them that the 2 kids had moved out.
I went up to the school, and I was talking to the teachers, and I actually wanted to tell. I started going into it, and someone told me to stop. But I was telling one of the teachers, hey, what had happened, and the security guard, but I didn't tell them that I did anything to them. I just, I'm dropping them. Try to see what we can do. I told them I was moving out of state with my brother.
Also, she told anyone who asked in the 2 years when the kids were frozen that they were staying with their aunt or in their rooms. The detective asks if she was ever violated as a young, and she says she was as a little girl. Her mother usually left them with neighbors, and the first person who violated her was a woman.
Were you ever a victim of any type of,
Yes, I was.
Okay.
And I used to always, this is what got me. I talked to my kids and my auntie and everybody. So I'm talking to them like so openly about this, and it's like, I felt like I had to.
Okay. What happened in your situation?
The first time, it was a woman. My mom used to leave us with any and everybody who would watch us. You know, anybody. So that was nothing. I think I was 5, 6, I don't know. But this was a woman, and she did that to me and my brother.
When she told her mother years later, the older woman didn't sympathize with her as it was in the past already. The detective asks how it was possible for the alleged abuses to have escaped her since she was a stay-at-home mother. And she says that she didn't suspect anything, especially as the kids played together in their room sometimes. After her confession, she signs the detective's notes, agreeing that she indeed confessed to the things written. She was charged with the demise of her 2 kids, and in court she showed no remorse, stating that she would do the same thing again, as her were demons. It turns out that Mike's claims were never proven, and so it is possible that Mitchelle only took out her frustration and long years of abuse on her kids, ending their lives in the process. She is sentenced to life in prison, and her are doing fine, as Mike is currently adopted and her eldest daughter graduated high school and should be in college at the moment. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more stories on true crime, then be sure to subscribe to our channel. This way, you'll be notified every single time we upload new videos. Thank you for watching.